My boss fired me at 7:59 a.m. By noon, I owned his company. My boss looked me in the eye and said, "Consider this your final lesson," as he fired me at 7:59 a.m. An hour later, a courier handed our lawyer a letter in the boardroom. She read one line and slid it to the CEO, who went pale and whispered, "You just screwed us. Let me back up. I'm Sarah Mitchell. I worked at Morrison Tech for 18 years. Not a typo. 18 years. I started when our servers were basically held together with duct tape and prayers. Back when the founder, David Morrison, ran everything from a rented storage unit that smelled like old cardboard and electrical fire, we were 5 people total. David, me. 2 developers who lived on Red Bull and Spite, and an accountant who worked 3 days a week. David always told me the same thing. Sarah, paper trail save companies. Document everything. Everything, so I did. I made sure every single process, every contract, every important decision had documentation. Backups of backups. Folders within folders. I wasn't paranoid. I was thorough. For 18 years, I built the company's infrastructure from nothing. I knew where every skeleton was buried because I'd helped bury most of them. The good kind. The kind that keeps a company alive. Then David got sick, cancer. The aggressive kind that doesn't give you time to prepare. The board panicked and handed control to his nephew. Tyler Morrison. Tyler was 28 years old, fresh out of business school with an MBA he probably paid someone to write half his papers for. The kid thought a compliance report was something you could ask ChatGPT to write. I'm not joking. He actually suggested that in a meeting. Out loud. In front of investors. From day one, Tyler treated me like I was furniture. Old furniture he'd inherited and didn't know what to do with. He called me legacy staff in front of people. Not even behind my back. Just straight to my face, like it was a job title. He replaced my entire team with his college buddies. Brothers who showed up at 10 a.m. with hangover sunglasses and called every meeting a sink. One of them became chief of organizational energy. Yes. That was a real title on a real business card that I had to order. I saw the writing on the wall immediately, so I did what I do best. I went through old files. Really old files. The kind stored in boxes in the archive room that hadn't been touched since we moved into our current building, and I found something beautiful, a 2008 agreement that David and I had drafted together when the company first incorporated. We'd been sitting in that storage unit at 11 p.m., eating Chinese takeout and trying to figure out how to protect what we were building. It was a safety clause. If certain key personnel, specifically me, were ever fired without proper board approval and adequate severance, operational control would automatically revert to the founder's trust within 72 hours. And guess who was listed as the trust appointee? Yeah. Me. David had put it in writing. Notarized. Sealed. Filed with the state. He'd told me about it once, years ago, said it was insurance for the people who actually give a damn. I'd forgotten about it. Until Tyler started circling, I quietly got everything notarized again, updated, verified. Made sure every signature was current. Every filing was perfect, just waiting. On Tuesday morning at 7:59 a.m. Tyler called me into HR. He fired me with a smug smile, leaning back in his chair like he was Gordon Gekko. Consider this your final lesson, Sarah. You've been great, but I need to sunset legacy roles. You have museum energy. This company needs to move fast, and frankly, you're a bottleneck, museum energy. That's what he called 18 years of keeping his uncle's company alive. I didn't cry. Didn't argue. Didn't make a scene, just stood up, walked out, and left my badge on the desk. I deposited my final paycheck at 8:41 a.m. Timestamp matters. Then I drove to a notary, sealed my letter, and sent it via same-day courier to our general counsel, Maria Chen. The letter formally acknowledged my termination and executed Section 4.8 of the Operational Reversion Agreement, as outlined in the 2008 incorporation documents. Then I went home, poured myself a glass of wine even though it was barely noon, and waited. Tyler celebrated by posting on our company Slack, spring cleaning broom out with the old. His buddies reacted with fire emojis. And gifs of people dancing. He even ordered catered lunch, poke bowls and kombucha to celebrate what he called my graceful exit. Meanwhile, the courier was crossing the city. By Monday, the board convened for their regular meeting. Tyler was doing his usual PowerPoint, talking about innovation and removing institutional drag. That meant me. I was institutional drag. Then Maria, our lawyer, raised her hand. A legal document arrived over the weekend, she said carefully. Notarized. Time-stamped. Delivered by courier. Tyler waved it off without even looking up from his slides. If it's from Sarah, ignore it. She's just salty. Maria didn't blink. It's not noise. I need to call a recess. The room went silent. She came back 30 minutes later with 2 folders and a face like she just read a horror novel. The clause is valid, she said quietly. It was reaffirmed in 2019. We're 48 hours into a 72-hour reversion window. Tyler laughed nervously. That clause was always symbolic. David put that in as a gesture. It's not actually enforceable. No, Maria said. It's enforceable. Extremely enforceable. And unless we reverse Sarah's termination in the next 23 hours with full board approval and reinstatement, operational control of this company transfers to the appointee named in the founder's trust. Someone asked, who's the appointee? Maria opened a sealed envelope that had been in trust custody since 2009, held by David's personal attorney. She read it silently. Then passed it around the table. One by one, the board members' faces changed from confusion to shock to something that looked like respect. Tyler's voice cracked. Just say the name, Sarah Mitchell. The room froze. Tyler made 6 panicked calls to me that afternoon. I didn't answer any of them. I was getting a pedicure. By Thursday morning, David had been informed from his hospital bed. According to Maria, he smiled when he saw my name and said, good. That's exactly what I hoped would happen. The board voted unanimously to acknowledge the transfer rather than fight it in court. They knew they'd lose. More importantly, they knew Tyler had screwed up. I walked into that boardroom at 8 a.m. sharp on Friday morning. I sat at the head of the table, the chair I'd watched Tyler sit in for 6 months while he ran David's company into the ground. I connected my flash drive and sent a company-wide message about continuity, integrity, and honoring the founder's vision. Security escorted Tyler out. As he passed me, I handed him his separation agreement, already signed by the board. Standard severance. Nothing personal. I leaned in close and whispered, consider this your final lesson. His face went red, but he didn't say anything. Just turned and walked out. Then I sat down in the chair I built from the ground up and got back to work. The first thing I did was reinstate my old team. Every single person Tyler had fired. The second thing I did was dissolve the position of Chief of Organizational Energy. The third thing I did was call David. Thank you, I said. He laughed, that rough cancer patient laugh. I told you, Sarah. Paper trails save companies. You saved mine. Tyler posts on LinkedIn now about toxic work environments and corporate betrayal. He has 47 followers. Morrison Tech is thriving. We just landed our biggest contract in company history, and every single document, every single decision, every single process, documented. Subscribe for more Valorant stories.